Hey! Welcome to the Download
hi.
Youth Ministry web show. This is episode 241. And
Could you put your phone away, please?
it's timing it. It's just
And
timing
Andy
it.
just got a text.
I'm not reading the text. It's all about timing. Doug Fields here with the Queen, Katie Edwards, Josh Griffin, the King, and Matt McGill.
The Prince.
I thought we decided that
The Jester.
I am the court
And wait,
jester,
what does that
actually.
make you?
The
Mogul.
first person to talk.
Oh, okay.
That's
New
right.
haircut.
New haircut, Doug Fields,
Let me
everybody.
get it out of my eyes.
Oh.
Hey, look at this.
How long has it been since we've done a podcast?
Look at this box. Only like
2
7
weeks.
days.
What?
Bethel College sent us all. Oh my God,
That's a big
This is like
sweatshirt.
a
That's a
blanket.
nice one.
This
Fit
must
me.
be from McGill.
Yeah,
great.
You could sleep a family of
That's
5
a-
in that thing.
2XL.
That's a really nice sweatshirt.
This is nice. I'm gonna wear this constantly.
That's
These
awesome.
are like so soft
Oh,
and
large.
comfy.
That's definitely mine.
Oh,
'Cause you
yellow
like
looks so
yellow?
good on you too.
Yellow.
Katrina, this
That's
looks
me.
like a ladies.
Obviously
And
mine.
ladies, that's for Josh. Here, let me show.
Yeah,
Let
will
me
not
see.
fit into that.
Oh,
That's me.
Totally.
Totally
That's
me.
really
Thank you.
good.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Hey, did they happen to send
Shirts.
4?
Oh.
They happen to
These
send
are
4 or anything?
Oh, nice.
feels.
Bethel College, way to go. And you would say, why would Bethel College, since
yeah, isn't this a
APU...
conflict of interest
Oh.
here?
Oh,
APU.
yeah.
What's going on?
I know
Christian
why.
colleges
Why?
hate each other.
Because they're a sponsor of the StudentLeadership.com conference. Come on, SLC. Am I right?
StudentLeadershipConferences.com.
Yeah, that sounds right.
The new domain names.
Yeah,
could
we're going to be...
studentleadership.conference.
We're doing...
Conference. What?
We're doing student leadership here in Orange County.
really good
We're
on you,
doing
bud.
it in
Thank you.
Oh, this-
DC area, and we're doing it at Granger.
In Mishawaka, Indiana. We'll see you there.
Yay,
right.
that's like
gonna
your
be
home-ish.
Ish.
But let's
Ish.
also do this. We have primary sponsors of our podcast, and that would be
Yes.
Youth Specialties.
Youth
Thank you very
Specialties.
much. And
Love
then we
you.
have what we call secondary sponsors over there.
Not secondary in our hearts.
No,
First
you know
in our
what?
hearts,
Just in our pocketbooks.
but blocked by me for most of the show.
I was just at Leader Treks in Chicago with Doug Franklin and his team.
How was it, Doug?
They're great. They're
He's
great.
so kind.
Funny thing
He's
is, that
great.
sounded like your normal voice.
It did.
What's that?
I was trying to
Josh?
be like sales pitchy guy.
Yeah.
No, they were
That's
great.
normal.
Doug and his team. I'm telling you, what they do is amazing type stuff. And so, for our monthly members, get a student leadership,
Thing once a week,
Once a month.
They make.
and it's great. But all their stuff is great, and they do retreats and refuel conferences.
Actually, and
all
just
that.
on Download Youth Ministry, probably by the time this is posted, there's a 4-week sermon series that he put together that is going loaded. That's from Leader Treks.
Leader
It's getting
Trek?
loaded up.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Called Kingdom
Was
Leader.
is there anything in there for me, or is it just like you
No,
guys'
we'll,
stuff?
we'll,
Sorry.
we'll
Sorry,
pick and
Al.
choose afterwards.
Okay, sounds good.
Sorry.
Bethel College, thank you. Go
Thank
to StudentLeadershipConference.com. Join us.
Whoa.
What? I thought that was Under Armour for a second.
Wow, what is this?
You can wear that to your CrossFit
cool.
addiction.
This is 2XL.
Bingo.
That's good.
There you go. Matt, stand
I'll wear that while I bike ride.
You just.
I don't
That's
I'm
like one
trying-
of
I'm
those
trying to focus
you can
us.
Sweat in it shirt.
I got a question.
I'm
Speaking
play
of
Quick
racquetball.
try.
This will make me
Where's
faster.
Seth?
Quick try.
Seth couldn't make it.
Seth is
is
dead to us. We have Parker right there.
Yay.
So
Thank you,
quickly.
Kevin O'Leary.
I don't even know who that is.
Shark
A
Tank.
Shark Tank reference. You are dead to us.
Which one is Kevin O'Leary?
The
bald
awesome one. Yep.
They're all awesome.
No.
My favorite is the basketball owner guy, Cuban.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban. He's
Yeah.
the best out of all of them.
He's great. No, he's not. But
He's not the best?
no, but he's
O'Leary's
great.
the best.
Why is he not the best?
I think Robert, the nice guy, is.
Oh, I do like Robert. He's a thinker.
Is it hair? Robert Hair guy?
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyhow,
you watch
Shark
Shark
Tank.
Tank?
Welcome back to
I don't.
downloadsharktank.com.
it's really good. Also, Youth Ministry 360 guys have some new Jesus curriculum you want to
Yes.
check out on
Good stuff.
Youth Ministry 360.
Jesus Studies.
.com.
Yeah.
Dave and Michaela, help me,
Michaela.
from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Good job.
I just watched episode 239 where you answered my questions about summer calendar and balancing time between family and ministry. So thankful for your honesty.
I was going to say,
I was-
did we
I'm
say it
always,
can't be
like,
done? Good
nervous.
luck.
My wife and I watched it together and had a great conversation in how we want to move forward as a family. I appreciate your honesty and input. It's easy to feel alone at times in this youth ministry gig, and it's helpful to have a few people to bounce things off. God used you in this episode to hold up the mirror for us in our marriage and ministry to teenagers.
Wow.
Oh.
That's nice. You know, we
That's
we,
cool.
Do
we
we remember
typically
what we said? What was the first email that was sent in? That'll remind me what.
I don't remember, but that was hold up the mirror. That's a
remember.
very kind thing to say.
yeah. Yeah,
Sure.
We only have two people that watch the show,
Yeah,
and
but
one of them,
Both,
bam.
both have been
right.
impacted in
These
major
guys.
ways.
Pete Ramsey from Kernersville, North Carolina.
Here's the other one.
They
Here's the other
lovingly
person.
refer to it as K Vegas, is what Pete says. Great show this week, hands down the best I've seen, although I've only seen 4. Great topics, great crew.
That's
Jim Burns
funny.
can still bring it.
He can
Oh,
bring it.
that
Of course
was
he
a good
can.
show.
I sent this to him, and he wrote back and said, "It makes me seem like the old guy that's put out to pasture."
Yeah, so it wasn't.
No,
he
he
didn't see it
was-
as a compliment, huh?
For an
maybe
old guy,
not, but I
he can still
thought
bring it.
I'd rather
He
him be
was
the old guy than
stellar.
me. Doug, turn your phone off. I found it humorous when the mic picked it up every time you got a text during the show.
Oh wow!
Topics of
Oh.
sexual relationships, when to leave a church, dealing with senior leadership and worship are always on the burner in the trenches of ministry. Thanks for the encouragement. Bonus,
that
you
was a
mentioned
good
my
one.
comment during this episode at 4 minutes and 42 seconds. A true highlight of my life. I'm thinking,
Oh,
Wow.
you got to get some more highlights.
Married,
Pretty
had
crappy
kids,
life.
got mentioned on the show with 2
Totally.
viewers. Okay.
Hey, Parker Dickerson.
3 viewers.
You did not make that up.
Plainville First Assembly of God. Hey everyone, Matt. Sorry you got canned. Question:
Ooh, cold.
how far out do you plan or schedule your teaching calendar? Who do you invite to be a part of this planning? I'm a DYM member and truly appreciate the wisdom and resources available for those of us in the trenches. And I can't believe I'm taking my team to the YS team training in Dallas, and nobody from DYM will be
Oh,
there.
we won't be there. What
Is that the
about
only one that you weren't at and I wasn't at?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because didn't
Pretty
they have
much
like
it.
10 or 12 and we were at...
All of them, just except Dallas.
how come you guys aren't doing Dallas?
We
No.
intentionally wanted to avoid
Slackers.
this guy. That was, no.
No,
No
I don't know.
love for
Matlock's
Dallas?
in Dallas.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
That's an easy flight. We can still change
we just
things.
we
Go
just
ahead.
go where we're told.
Yeah, that's
Gotcha.
true.
Yeah, you know Josh.
totally.
I just
Easy.
do what I'm told.
Yep.
I just robot.
Says yes to every opportunity.
Teaching calendar.
Here's what I would say. The Download Youth Ministry blog is actually a good place to go because as I am planning the next season, I will write about it, talk about it, tell you what we're going to do in the next season and all that stuff.
and the
So,
next season usually is a quarter
yeah,
for you.
I kind of divide up the year into, honestly, almost 3 chunks, like trimesters.
Three
rather than-
quarters?
3 quarters, yeah. And then, yeah. So that's kind of what I do. I do like a fall is a really big one, but it's kind of fall and winter, and then a winter, spring, and then summer is its own thing. So I kind of divide it up into 3 sections and try to, as we're entering the current one, have the next one begun to be planned. So for example, heading into summer, like May-ish, I'm going to be looking at September, October, November, December. So try to be a quarter ahead, not like dialed in, planned, all finished,
I like
but
themes and topics.
yeah, themes,
Series
topics, broad
is,
strokes, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the more ahead you are, the easier it is for you to be creative. It's harder
Yeah.
to be creative on Saturday night when you got to teach something on Sunday morning. So
Totally.
you're thinking about it, you're
Yeah.
processing
File
it,
stuff away.
you're looking for stuff, you know,
Yeah.
the whole bit. I remember when I was first in youth ministry, people used to talk about a year in advance.
So far.
And I just would always feel guilty because I was like, I can never get that far in advance.
Well, and to be honest, we've gotten further in advance than a quarter or whatever, for more than 3 months ahead, and we actually start to lose some momentum towards the ideas and energy. So I think a year out could be detrimental even. So I like being 1 season ahead if possible.
Yeah. What about you, Katie?
I plan a lot the same. And I like the kind of 3 chunks thing because it does give us a chance to kind of feel the needs of our students too. So planning, you know, when we're planning out the calendar, if kind of something like a felt need comes up that we can kind of anticipate is happening. So I don't know. I like to have
Yeah.
a little bit of freedom there. If we planned a year out and we stuck to it, I don't know that we would stick to it. We would make changes.
Yeah, you
I
hold
think.
everything with loose grip anyway.
Totally. So I think yeah.
What about who do you guys invite to your planning meetings?
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You look good in that Bethel college.
It's a good color for you.
Yeah.
for
It
sure.
is. It's making
You
your
look
eyes just
sharp.
pop like the morning.
I never really
dew.
understand why. How does one color?
I don't
look
know.
better on
I
a
don't really
person
get
than
that either,
somebody
but
else?
It's working.
Blue is what Kathy says is my color, so I'm hoping Terry and the people at Bethel would send me a blue one instead of that yellow one. We'll give that
It's
to
got
Katie.
blue in it.
Yay, I love yellow.
Do you? You got it.
I always
Thank
thought
you.
chartreuse was your color.
Yeah.
What? No one even knows what color that is.
It's like a greenish yellow, but I'm
I
colorblind,
always
so
thought
maybe it's not.
hand-me-down T-shirts were your
So
color.
like the color of your drink.
Dude, the guy at Outback today spilled ketchup, dropped ketchup on the floor, and it shot up in the air all over the shirt. I'm teaching like a life groups workshop tonight, so
Ketchup
I don't
shower.
see anything.
I had a ketchup shower at Outback today. Outback, love you. Just thought I should bring
Did
that
you
up.
get any discount?
Not
on
a penny. Not a penny.
Wow, not even a free
I almost thought
bloomin'
about
onion?
going online and saying something because I love Outback so much, and it breaks my heart for that to even have happened.
Yep.
But
Breaks your
I'm just
Outback.
gonna talk about it here and maybe tweet about it later, passive aggressively, and then we'll see what happens. So.
Watch it. HR's watching.
Who
would you invite to the meeting?
In a perfect world, it doesn't always work out this way because I'm a realist in moments like this. But in a perfect world, I would love a few student leaders. That'd be awesome. A couple students in there, a couple volunteers, and then whatever your closer team involves too. Like if you have an intern, someone bring them into that as well. Just a little think tank of creative people to throw up ideas and see what sticks. I mean, at the end of the day, the decision rests with me. So if this is the teaching topic we're going to go for, I'm going to say this is the one we're going to do. But to generate a whiteboard full of ideas, I need help. And so gather a few students, a few volunteers, a couple interns, have a good time.
My tip on that is just made out of my mistakes where I created a team, and then all of a sudden I get into the whiteboard room and I don't like the team. They're not
Right.
as creative as I thought they were going to be, or something like that.
Yeah.
So the lesson learned is invite them one at a time. Like,
that's
hey,
good.
we're going to do, as opposed to put a team together.
Yeah.
Then you begin, after you do it for a few times, go, okay, this person always comes through. They've got great video ideas or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't tell them we're meeting once a month.
Right.
Or whatever.
Just say we're
Yeah.
meeting this
Yeah.
time.
Make it a little more organic.
Well, and I think if
The
I was a
more
really...
chaos and ambiguity you can have, the more freedom you have in the future.
I think it would be
Great
interesting
leadership tip.
to bring like a parent or two into the room. Have not done that. So in full disclosure, this is an idea that I've never done.
You've
but
never
how-
had a parent? You've had a parent.
Not in a creative brainstorming meeting. I mean, maybe a volunteer that also was a parent. I guess I could go that way.
Yeah.
But it would be awesome to have a few parents of teenagers in the room. I don't know what that would do, the dynamic, but it would be interesting because they would go, hey, my kid really struggles with the basic foundations
Cleaning
of
their
the faith."
room.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Right, can you work that in?
Respecting me.
How about
Honor
good
your
grades?
parents.
Yeah.
How about Wiccans? Would you invite any of them?
No, I've excluded them on purpose because all the Mormons in the room are just taking all the chairs. So.
That's
Totally.
right.
I like to survey our junior hires a couple
Did I
times
get
a year
Parker
too.
on that? Yeah, Parker.
Just what questions do they have, or like what's on their mind, or if they could ask any question, what would that be? And a lot of time, we do it twice during the year, and I get so much great. Well, a lot of them ask the same thing, so really kind of pulling some teaching topics instead of. I mean, I've brought them in every once in a while, but they're not the best in a brainstorming situation usually. It's kind of just, like you said, more one-on-one, like,
Yeah.
hey, what's a fun game you would play? But, or how would you, what do you want to learn about? But that has been kind of cool, just surveying them on, what are you thinking about? What are your big questions about God? Or what are your big questions, if you could ask him anything, what would that be? And so, I don't know, just some cool teaching stuff comes out of that as well.
That's good.
Yeah. That's
Love
Good.
it.
Good job.
You can always email all the moms and have them check their kids' diaries and just tell you what they're writing about.
It's a great way for
Feels it.
insight.
Yeah, seriously.
Feels right. Room raiders.
Um,
We checked your diaries. And we came up with this topic.
You have been kissing the pillow.
Matthew.
That's the voice of experience right there. That was a true confession.
well, I did.
Guilty.
I had a super chicken pillow when I was in elementary school.
Yeah,
Super
that's where
chicken
that
pillow?
came from. You told the illustration. I found
Yeah.
it right.
Wait, tell us the story. I don't think I know
When I
this
was a
one.
kid, like third, fourth grade, something like that, I practiced what it would be like to kiss on my super chicken pillow.
That's
On the
right.
actual beak or just the pillow in
It was
general?
just a print on the pillow. There was no beak.
Did you
Yeah,
tell the story
gotcha.
last week at the deal?
Oh.
And what? I don't even know who you are. Who are you?
Marriage conference, marriage thing, marriage event, retreat.
Oh.
Didn't
No.
you just you didn't tell that story?
No.
It would work
Sounds like a
perfect.
great
It
story.
might have. It might have.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
My
Wes-
ideas get followed up with a might.
Wes, when do you have ideas? Wes
You wouldn't be in the
Henson.
brainstorming meeting.
Yeah, my role is to go to the brainstorm meeting and make everyone else feel really
Yeah.
good about their
Hey, Matt,
ideas.
if you can just take notes, that'd be great.
Matt has a friend. I've never met these guys, but he when he visits them, he always goes, "You feel so much better about your marriage when you're around them."
That's awesome.
It's apparently a rough
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah.
And that just made me think that's when Matt goes to the brainstorming. So
Everyone has a place in the
everybody
kingdom.
feels
Everyone
real
wins.
creative. Man,
Yeah.
Myers.
So
Everybody
great.
has a place.
And I appreciate
right.
you not talking about Parker's marriage like that.
Wes Henson, First Baptist
You were that
Church,
friend. No, just kidding.
Bront, Texas.
Bront?
Bront.
Bront, all right.
No, the Bronx.
I've recently started using round tables for our midweek large group gathering.
Heaven has descended.
If only you had a nickel.
I feel like we just talked about this.
I kind of do too.
Who's organizing this
remember.
thing?
And I'm-
Well, the elaborate filing system.
Just
that
do
Doug
it quick.
Fields-
No.
All right, there we go.
What are some suggestions you would give to set the table leaders up to win? Is there a resource that talks about strategy behind using tables versus rows? I realize the relationship at the tables won't form like they would in a small group, but is there a way to maximize the relational aspect? Yeah, it feels like in the last 5 shows or so.
Yeah. So just
Just
rewind
be
it
a
and answer that
rewinder.
on your own.
Yeah,
Good luck.
but Katie, how do you set table leaders up to win? We're big fans of tables, and when I say we, I mean me and Matt. Katie and Josh were
I like
discipled
tables
in the
from
ways
time
of
to time.
tables,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
junior
Yeah.
high
They had to
tables a little
rebel
rougher.
against their elders.
A little rougher.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think table is a great setting for connection. And that's really what it was all about is having that first connect point, face to face time. We did everything from doing table games together, which fun is a great bonder around a table. Little get to know you or discussion questions or things like that throughout the service that were great too. And really just empowering table leaders to kind of own that table. So when we saw table leaders bringing chocolate chip cookies and, bringing things for their table and kind of making it their ministry, that was really when tables were awesome, and we saw table ministry be a cool thing. So giving them some instruction on what you want them to do, but also giving them some freedom to own it and create a great connect point for students.
Yeah, it's an artificial community with the
Yeah.
goal of moving it to be more
Something
authentic.
deeper. Yeah.
I think you got to let your leaders know that it's incredibly tough. I mean, that was one of the things that we tried to be intentional
it's
about
tough.
was to say, you may have different students every week. You may have students that don't feel like talking to you because they're talking to their friends. You got to stick with it. You got to be consistent. And then what we've seen and always said that a table leader, if they could last 4 months, then they'll be there for 4 years.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
that's
one of
good.
those things that if they
Once you get it.
get through that tough, and
Well,
it's
and
hard.
Well, it's
And
tough
really,
because
yeah.
we had. Let's also frame this correctly because it's tough because we were doing it at our entry level outreach
Right.
type deal. So you're getting all kinds of kids in there that
our crowd
have no
program.
faith, the whole bit. So it's a little more difficult than if it was at a discipleship program where they're coming, they're excited
Right.
to come. It'd be
They're
a little bit
committed.
You have
easier
all
to be
churchy
there.
No, that's true.
kids that are already clicked, then
Yeah.
but we did different things through the years. I do remember now that we did this just a little while ago, but at for some of the seasons we had them all organized by schools, and so if you went to this high school, you would go over here and here was a couple tables for you, and this high school, yada yada yada, and that was really good for visitors because the downside of tables. I'm sure there's a bunch or a couple or whatever, but one of the downsides is that a visitor walks in and only sees tables. That's hard if you're
Right.
by yourself. Like you don't want to go sit and talk to other people. So we used to have rows that would help with that too. But also, there's my school. I'll go over there. And having schools in designated areas like that. I mean, obviously, it wasn't something that you had to sit here or we're going to seat everybody in a seating chart, but it helped the leaders because then you could have small group leaders or you could have people that would kind of focus on a different high school. They could invite them and say, hey, why don't you come to Bible study with me? So that was
Yeah.
a good thing too.
It's good. We like to call those the good old days. Back when you and I had just graduated from Bethel College.
Seminary.
You guys went there too? Oh,
Is
that's
there a
awesome.
Bethel College and a Bethel Seminary? Is it the
Yeah.
same thing?
No, it's not the same thing.
2 different things.
Wow,
think
hey,
there's-
we're promoting the college today, so
Not the
ease up.
seminary.
The seminary hasn't
He's
done
a-
anything for us.
No sweatshirts came in from them.
Yeah, but did you see one of our DYM members, speaking of colleges, Eric Upton,
Yeah.
who is the guy with the shirts,
Oh.
just tweeted yesterday that he's joining the APU Masters
All
program.
right.
So I'm excited
We
to
gotta join that.
spend time with him. Yeah, if you
I
guys
think
ever
I
want to
gotta
get
do
a real degree.
that. Hey, I got my
Once I get my,
undergraduate there.
once I
You're
get
the
my
one that
GED,
went to
I'm
Vanguard.
going. Sorry,
Great
Parker. That
mix.
hit close to home. That hit a little too close. I'm sorry. It was low.
Wow.
Hey, leave Parker alone. We want a show to record.
That's true.
Hey.
Red
I
lights
believe
on.
in you.
Red
I
lights
just-
on.
I believe
We're
in
good.
Will
Got you.
Turner.
Let's see. Have you hit the mute button again,
No.
Doug?
touch that thing.
Yeah, don't even look at
Okay.
it.
Leave Parker alone.
Will Turner.
Will Turner from Selma Baptist Church says, I'm a new DYM member and watched my first web show yesterday.
T?
Welcome to the family.
You guys make me love being a youth minister even more than I already do.
Oh.
Thanks for all your
Is that
encouragement.
an accent?
For all you
Must-
do.
I don't know.
We're
That
holding
I
up mirrors
already
and
do.
we're making people love you.
Yeah, you know what? I don't. It was if it wasn't intentional. Here
Yeah, I
was
thought you
what
were
was-
mocking him a little
No,
bit.
here was in the back of my mind.
Will.
No, Mom.
How you doing,
I'll tell you
son?
exactly. Total honesty, what was in the back of my mind. I can't wait till the show's over because I want to dig into the box from Bethel and see all the
See
stuff.
what else is in there.
There's like hats
What does that
and
have to
water
do with-
bottles.
But wait,
and-
real quick,
What
just
does
to
that have to
clarify,
do with-
box from Bethel College, not
Not
seminary.
seminary. No.
Bethel College. We love you, seminary men.
Cool.
All right,
That's
what did
exciting.
That was it? Just to say,
Did he have
No.
a question?
Yeah.
Okay,
What's
here
the
we go.
deal?
Here's the question. I have 2 siblings in my youth ministry that can't stand each other.
Oh.
They're only a year
sad.
apart.
This is the part where Katie cares and we're like, well,
That's hard.
They're only a year apart. They're both boys. One a junior, the other a sophomore. So let's think Max and Mark right here.
okay, I
McGill
like
kids.
it. Those are McGill kids, all right.
Yeah, 5th and
Max
6th
said-
grade.
Mark said the nicest thing about Max the other day. Sorry.
No, that's good.
That was beautiful.
I-
Tell us about it when we're together.
This show's done. That's right.
No,
What a
this
great
won't be
story,
their
Matt.
problem.
It
This-
might be.
I don't think
You know,
so.
it might be.
No.
You can't.
They're-
I think
We've
it will
seen
be.
enough families that good.
I know, but Kathy and I were walking up. So Sunday after church, Kathy and I went to hear McGill preach.
Awesome.
He hit a total home run. Afterwards, we went out to lunch, and Kathy and I are walking up to join them. And there's all these tables out, and Max and Mark McGill are just sitting eating together. Like they're not with everybody
That's
else. It
cool.
was just like 2 buddies.
Yeah.
Just
Two best
Well,
friends.
Max
fighting
was
in.
gone for a week at outdoor education. I'm talking to Mark. I was like, "Hey, so do you miss him? What's going on?" You know, and I said, and he said some nice things, which is great, condensing the story, the conversation.
and turn up your volume. Just a
Oh,
little
that's
bit.
right. I forget. I always mumble. And I said to Mark, I said, "So, you know, how does Max treat you at school?" And he just said, "Max is never mean to me. He's always a good friend." I just thought it was.
Yeah.
That was a
Did you get a
heartwarmer.
little weepy?
Oh yeah, I get
That's-
weepy all the time.
That's good mothering,
Someone
parenting, right
Yeah.
there.
It was good.
Well,
it was good.
Here's McGill's parenting.
Yeah.
So the kids are getting bored. We're out to lunch. The kids are getting bored, and so McGill gives them $4. There's a 7-Eleven across the parking lot. He says, "Go get whatever you want. See if you can steal a Slurpee."
Yeah, Mom gave him the money. I encouraged him.
And
to
you
steal.
gave them instructions. I like it.
Yeah.
right.
Okay, so these brothers, one a junior, one a sophomore, they both claim to follow Jesus, and their family has a long history in our church. But they can't even sit next to each other in small group. They won't even ride in the same car. If they speak to each other, I have to immediately tell them to stop. But separate from each other, they're both great guys. I love them both. What advice do you have for me on ministering to their whole family? I really want to build an avenue to healing, but all my attempts at encouraging them individually have done nothing so far. I really want to help their parents too. Any advice you have for me would be awesome. I want to see this family win.
Just tell them since they don't love each other, they're probably going to go to hell.
Feels right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Feels direct.
Yeah.
that's encouraging.
Tell them that there's only 14
Done.
months left till they're out of the house, and good luck.
I don't know. What
Hang
would
in
you
there.
do?
No.
What, have
Dude,
you ever had
this
anything
is-
I
like
don't
that
think I
happen?
have. I don't recall obviously
A
family
sibling?
drama and stuff, but I don't think sibling anger of that magnitude. I don't think I've ever dealt with it, to be honest. I would just start off, and I do not have the answer for this, but I can give a beginning. I would just say this is a complex family matter that has festered
deep.
for years.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can't-
It is deep. You're not going to waltz in and fix this thing overnight. So I think
You're not even, yeah.
yeah, so just know that we want to see that healing. We believe that God can do that without a doubt. But just know that that is a deep mess
Yeah.
that you're walking into. It took a long time to get into it. It's not going to be something that's fixed like that.
Yeah.
So that's at
Yeah.
least one
That's
starting
good
point.
insight.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with keeping them separate. Don't try. I mean, I think that if for you to try and get them to be friends, that they're going to want to be in the same small group, and you know what? Even if they got along, it's not a bad idea to have kids being separate small groups anyhow. I mean, just so that they
Yeah,
have
it sounds
a
like
sense
these
of
guys want
freedom
in a
and
separate room, though.
yeah,
they're ready
yeah.
to punch each other or something.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's I think the attitude of, hey, you can't fix the whole thing. Encourage. You might be able to encourage them. I mean, you can encourage, but
Yeah.
but it's huge. But I think the other thing is that you don't put up with it. I mean, you don't want to let anybody ruin a program just because they have their own issue.
Right.
And if it gets really, really bad, and there's nothing you could do, then I don't know, maybe you have them alternate weeks. One shows
Wow.
up one week and one shows up the other week. I mean, if it's that crazy. I mean, for me in discipline, I mean, everything in my life, I joke around so much and stuff like that. But I had a brother and sister that they, the brother gave her a hard time sometimes, and teased a little bit in Bible study and stuff. So one night I made him sit in the backyard, which was beautiful because it was freezing that night and he had shorts, and he just had to have his ear to the screen and listen. He wasn't even allowed to answer any questions or talk. He just could only listen to the Bible study because he was so disrespectful to his sister. I mean, I gave him a few warnings and joked. I was like, no, really, you're sitting outside. Take the chair, go sit outside, and you can just have your ear on the screen and listen. Joking, and it wasn't, they didn't complain. I didn't get any parents angry at me or anything like that. But I did deal with it head on and saying, look, you guys can't do this. This is inappropriate. And it's also disrupting everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about the good old days.
No doubt.
When you could make kids sit outside.
Get out in that snowbank right now. You sit out there until
about-
country.
talk about the
You
good
get in there
old
with
days.
the beaches.
That was the Mariners, probably, right?
No, it's not about.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, no, it was Brand.
ABS.
Oh,
wow, we almost got a name
Said the
drop.
name.
Wow, we have a new edit right there.
I'd
right?
go
We
back to
heard
what
it.
Josh. I like what you said, Josh. But here's where I take that a step further.
Please do.
Well, I just meet with the parents.
Yeah.
I think you want to help the family. You got to get right to mom and dad. Can I have a
just
meeting
say,
with you?
Well, how come you guys suck so bad?
And just to say, hey, here's my
happening?
observation.
Yeah.
Is I'm assuming this observation is the same true at home.
Consistent. Yep.
You might be the trigger to help them in some family counseling.
That would be awesome.
I mean, the reality is that hating one another at that degree and following Jesus, there's some disconnect there.
For sure.
Back
yeah.
to my first point.
Which was?
They're going to go to hell.
Right.
Just kidding.
Right.
Just
That's
kidding.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Good eternal
Parents
I just said
wisdom
it a
right
little
there.
bit stronger, that's all.
No, you know what? As Josh and I went out to dinner with some great youth workers
Oh,
a
so
couple
fun.
weeks ago
Yeah.
in Chicago.
It was Chicago.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
You
they
guys
were
get
talking
pizza?
about the podcast, and they talked
Outback.
about Matt playing a character.
My whole life is a character, though. I mean, I'm ridiculous.
But this is what we said. We said, yep, it's all
exactly. My whole life is ridiculous.
I don't
No,
know.
we
Yeah.
said you're like when you meet people, you're a lot nicer than you come
people
across
expect. That
here.
is true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you're not being a character on this show.
No,
You're just being
I-
unfiltered Matt.
Yeah, and I would say an amplified Matt. Like, here's Matt that
Well,
we love, and
here's
it's
the-
even turned up just a little bit.
Here's the difficult thing. Even when we were at, yes. I mean, here's the thing: is that when it's an email and there's this camera and it's not personal responses. I mean, it's not like, oh, I know you
Yeah.
personally. Let me make you feel sad and go cry. But at the same time, if it's funny, I mean, if we can, create a little laughter, yeah. But then part of it is too is that we just have so much history
Yeah.
that I
Apparently, our 15
No.
years of history doesn't count right here.
It does, but I mean, there's a lot longer that for some reason, I just go extra unfiltered.
Yeah.
When I'm around Doug. I mean, it's just it's when I'm with Mish or Guttridge, some of my wife or some friends, but even at lunch I said something where I teased somebody at lunch, and it wasn't that big of a deal, but it's just not worth going into. And I just thought, why did I say it? What did I do? I mean, it was just a little too far that I normally wouldn't have done. And it was just one of those things that's like, when I get around Doug, I just...
So you blame your sin problem. That's what I'm hearing.
So I hear you say, I bring out the
No, he-
worst
Yeah,
in you.
yeah.
You're
Good
the
friends
He
bring
feels
out
the
the worst.
safest to be completely
That's what I'm
himself.
saying.
There
Completely
is
me.
so much history here, and
Yeah.
we
All of us
we
do.
love
I
each
mean,
other deeply, and we joke deeply as well.
We do. We cut each other deeply, love each other deeply.
They feel great. You guys are really nice.
I'm never
No.
mean to Katie.
You don't want to see
Never.
Katie when she's angry.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You're
When
not
I'm
mean to
unfiltered.
Josh
And I
either.
know
I'm
that.
the only one
No,
who gets
I'm
the
not.
attack.
When I'm unfiltered, it's
cool.
not good.
Yeah, people die.
Even Katie makes fun of me sometimes, but that's not
Occasionally.
very
Every once
often.
in a while.
Just
Yeah.
when I need it.
Just maybe relax.
All right, this is from Dan Livingston. Good day.
Good
I
day, Dan.
just subscribed to DYM.
Hey.
It's a good day.
Just started listening to the podcast too.
Wow.
I've been in full-time youth ministry for 15 years now.
Fabuloso.
Last year started a new job at a new church. I walked into a crazy strict quote-unquote child abuse prevention policy.
Oh.
The policy went into place after a worst-case situation.
That's how it works.
After the last year of following the policy, I think it's time to suggest some changes that would allow me and my team of volunteers to have more access to time with youth outside of the church building. What would you suggest is a good child abuse prevention policy for working with high school and middle school youth?
Well, this is a handbag of hand grenades. I mean, it's really hard to answer because what no
Handbag
matter
of
what,
hand
what you
grenades.
say,
Can we title the
Strong.
show?
You have
Handbag
to.
I
hand
thought it
grenades,
was
done.
going to have something to do with Bethel College, but
Yeah.
it's now.
Handbag of hand grenades.
Handbag.
Well,
grenades.
because this is such a difficult issue, and to not know exactly what's
The context, like the,
context
actual
of what
story.
are the rules. You know, let me see the 5 rules, and even still, what happened and all that stuff. It is a really tough thing, and then. You know, we could say the rules that we've had, which we probably will, which is okay, but that our contexts
Different
is
setting.
different than
Yeah.
other places too. I mean,
Well, he knows that. He's just asking for
Yeah.
suggestions.
he does. It's just tough. I mean, man, I was really worried when you were reading that question though, when you said that it followed up with policy. I mean, gosh, I thought that would have been a whole different policy. It's way easier to talk about.
Yeah. What do you guys have at Saddleback?
We emphasize relational ministry a lot, which is hanging out with students outside of a program.
Yeah.
We emphasize it. We encourage it. I would say it is one of the
I used to
foundation's
think it was
hallmarks.
a given.
yeah, it kind of right. So I would say we would have a lot of cautions, and we would just kind of. Well, I don't think we have like a major formal policy in place.
Other than like
But
hanging out with anybody of the
Opposite
Yeah,
sex.
the formalists would be, don't counsel or hang out alone with ever someone of the opposite sex. You're allowed to have conversations and be friends and care for, but
social media.
and then be careful
Awareness.
on social media.
Yeah.
Make sure that somebody has access to
You're
your.
not driving somebody home alone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, we're trying to be
direct
careful.
messages. What about direct messages against
Direct. We would
cross-
say direct messages, cross gender,
don't do it.
would be discouraged, but not
Yeah.
outlawed outright.
What about simple direct messages, like not simple. It's clear that hey, what time is youth group or whatever. Basic conversation
Yeah,
stuff.
no problem. Even texting, whatever.
Late
no
at
problem.
night though.
I would
Does
say
that-
we
does
would
that-
just caution
does
people to
the
be
time,
careful.
Does the time make it worse? I mean, I've just been in some, not me personally, but
Yeah.
at some contexts and stuff like that.
Sometimes you text me late at night, wonder what I'm wearing.
Yeah, is
which
that appropriate? I don't know.
That's,
like a policy
that's
shift.
Yeah,
just
I
kind
would
of
say
personal.
it's funny because I've had parents even go, I don't know why the leader texts
Is
my
text-
kid
ex-
on
that's what I'm
Thursday
talking
night.
about. That's
Like,
what I'm
why?
talking
What are they doing? And I'm go, well, it's relational ministry, so they
Yeah.
don't just do a small group on Tuesday, but they're checking in and talking about life
Yeah,
and faith
yeah.
and questions and it's kind of like mentoring. So
Yeah.
it's organic. It happens throughout life, not just
Yeah.
for 2 hours on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So, and for some parents, they're like, yes, I get it, they're in. And other parents are a little like, it's weird that an adult is texting
Right.
or calling
Yeah.
or
Right.
whatever.
I definitely think because we're decentralized with the life groups and stuff, with our small groups midweek meeting in homes, we have a little bit less of the opposite sex stuff happening
Right.
because people are
Right.
kind of just you don't really know too many, like when our other format, when we used to have guys and girls meeting together in the
Right.
same house, there's probably a little bit more of that cross stuff happening, so we have a little bit less of
Yeah,
that
now
now.
it's
And you
gender
didn't say
specific.
that first part though.
Yeah.
That your Bible studies are by gender.
Yeah.
in
Sorry,
different
they're
homes.
by
That-
gender,
Yeah.
and age. So that we probably have a little bit less of
Yeah.
the crossover.
Well,
Still
and junior high
cautions.
kids don't get anywhere without someone
Right,
driving
definitely.
them.
Parents are kind of a cornerstone of ours. So
Yeah.
But I would say coming out of a context where, in this case, there was an abuse situation, maybe lawsuits, obviously reputation loss,
sensitivity.
damage.
Yeah, you got to be above reproach.
You got to be above reproach. I don't think the policy. I mean, he didn't copy and paste the policy,
Yeah.
but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And for a season,
Yeah.
maybe that season is passing. But for a season, be extra cautious and extra aware because you're repairing a reputation that has been marred potentially for years and years to come.
Hopefully
So-
you knew this before you came to the church.
Yeah.
Because that would be
Sounds
tough.
like a little bit.
it'd
know.
be
That's
it'd
not a
be
question
interesting
you
to hear
ask,
from some of the
Yeah.
people that watch the show. Send us what your policy is.
Yeah.
And
Maybe that'd be a good blog post.
at web
I agree.
webshow@downloadyouthministry.com.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
any other questions as well.
We once, my wife and I, this is years and years ago, were meeting a girl in the youth group and her dad, actually talk about some Mexicali stuff, Mexico mission stuff, and
You have
we
to
were
explain that to John.
yeah, we were a
something about
few
the good
minutes.
old days,
We were a few minutes. We arrived right on time.
Yeah,
Max,
you tease him.
It hurt too. I'm weepy right now.
Max, our oldest. I'm just trying to go fast, which is not my strength. Dang it.
He was
So Max had to have his diaper changed. But we were a little bit late, and so I didn't want to be late meeting, especially a parent.
Max
and so
was 12 at this time.
Mish is changing the diaper. I walked to the restaurant. The girl's there. It was Brittany. She's great. Well, she's like, "Oh, my dad's running late. But he'll be here in a few minutes. No big deal." And the student, students don't know policies and all that stuff. Well, it's funny. I mean, I'm starting to okay, I know Mish will be here in 45 seconds, but I'm now in a restaurant with a student, girl student, and so I'm starting to sweat.
Well,
Like,
plus,
what
you
do
kind
I
of had
do?
feelings for her earlier, didn't you?
Dude,
oh wow.
Or did that come later?
that is, I think that's an edit. That is so inappropriate.
That's
That is definitely
Don't you think?
inappropriate.
Well, if it's close to home, it's
No, it's not close to home. Goodness gracious.
And we're back, everybody.
Gosh. That is. I think if I would have said the same thing, you would be flipping out right now.
I don't think so.
What do you guys think?
Well, here's what I would say.
think it was
Finish your
so-
story.
But the point is that as I'm talking, I mean, I'm saying what I'm thinking, and I said, "Oh, this is funny." I go, we have a policy that you can't meet with anybody one-on-one, and as I'm talking to her about it, another guy on staff comes into the same restaurant and is like, "Hey, man."
Oh, wow.
Hey, man,
Of
you're here alone with
Yeah,
the female
and so
student.
then I'm like, "Hey, Misha's in." I mean, I said to him,
Yeah.
Misha's in the car.
That's
Dad's coming and all that stuff. But it was literally 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But you were hyper aware, cautious, careful,
Yeah.
protecting yourself and protecting her and all that too.
Yeah.
There's usually
So-
something behind that hyper. And,
Well, it's funny though because even a few years before that is that I was at the mall with my sister, and I ran into Rick and Kay, the senior pastor of the church, and even then I'm like, oh my, they're seeing me with, oh wait a minute, what are they gonna think? What's going on?
So you introduced her. Hey, I'm with my sister.
Yeah, that's
and it's
funny.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would just throw out one other addition to this too. It isn't just
It does-
opposite
I've
sex.
actually done that before.
You're a little red actually, and that's it's good.
These are jokes that I'm thinking that I'm not going to say. This is
That's
what-
good.
That's
Keep
the
'em
red.
in.
Restraint.
Yeah.
That's wise.
Keep 'em in.
I would say we've talked about the opposite sex quite a bit in this particular answer, but I would say those days of it only being about the
You're
opposite
right.
sex
That's
has that
That's
ship
true,
has sailed.
too.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you need to think in terms of same sex, same gender. A male youth worker relating to male students, that is also
Definitely.
very significant.
That's something we've been talking and processing.
Absolutely.
At times. So
Yes.
2 months from now, this question could be answered a little bit differently.
I
so.
totally agree.
no, it's definitely a new day, and some of the questions that we get reflect
Absolutely.
that as well.
Absolutely.
Here is one. Please don't read my name. A rewinder, a DYM yearly member.
Wow.
Whoa.
So
only
we
one of
go
about 3
way
people.
back. It says,
like the gold
please
medal
don't
there.
read my name. This means you, Doug. Matt, sorry you got canned. And that is kind of connected to my question.
Ooh,
See?
he or she got
See?
canned.
Just reaching out.
You are just helping people
You're a
in your misery.
handbag of hand
I
grenades.
hope it's not canned as well.
All right,
No,
Matt,
it's-
you take this one. We're gonna sit this one out.
Yeah, I'm going to be changing my position at the church in the next 6 months or so. The exact timeline has not been set, but a new position is being made for me. I will be overseeing everything in our church for age 35 and under. I will be the direct supervisor of our children's pastor and new youth pastor. So basically, you're not really going to be effective at anything, as well as develop new programs for the college, young married, and young families. Oh, come on. This is, you get a job that is that broad. You are, I love this guy. I know him well. I think when you get a job that you oversee so many things, you wind up really feeling
Jesus
fish out of
oversaw
water.
all 12 disciples.
And you lost one. You do the math.
Speaking of math, you look good in that Bethel.
Bethel
What is
College. College.
Oh, really
Bethel
brings out the
College.
color.
So what's he asking?
He's,
Yeah.
Here's my question. At
There
what
it is.
point in the process should all of this become public? In the past, my church has done the interviewing and hiring process secretly within the staff and the board, and then announced it once everything is in place, which means a lot of change really quick. Transition is hard no matter what, and I wonder if knowing it is coming before a new person actually shows up might help. And should the students be involved in the process, even if it's in a small way? What do you think?
Wow. Rip off the Band-Aid or not?
Yeah.
Or plant the seed.
Interesting. I'm nodding with
I
approval,
don't like
but I don't know what that
secrets.
means. You don't like secrets? That's good.
I don't.
Yeah.
I like openness.
I
I mean,
think
as
if-
much as you can.
If it's going to be a positive
Yeah.
move, when my dad, here I'm going to go from positive move to my dad having Parkinson's. When my dad died, he had Parkinson's for several years. We grieved that over a long period of time. So when his death came, I mean, it was still traumatic.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like one of those out of the blue.
Yep.
All of a sudden you're dead.
Right. You're overcome with emotion because you obviously didn't see it coming.
Yeah. And so for me, that principle applies here. I kind of like the idea of you're in the midst of transition. We're in a season. There are going to be some changes going on. Here's what we're going to do. You're able to cast vision. You get to tell and retell the story of what's happening, as opposed to a decision telling the story for you. So
But I don't know. I mean, think about the person who knows they're dying. That's a painful process and an abrupt end for them at some point, as opposed to here's the announcement, here's the change, boom. Like,
yeah,
I
but
think
this
I
guy
agree.
who's writing in, he's
Right.
asking, do we tell them all at once and I'm gone and now you have a new youth person here?
Right.
And
do
now
you-
I oversee everything
you
and
bleed
have
out
lots of
the
jobs.
The fact that I mean, it's a difficult thing, because I would ask your leadership, well, how come you want to wait?
Yeah.
Why do you want to wait until everything's in place to say it, and just see what they say and how it's there? As far as the youth being part of who they pick, that's kind of hard. I mean,
That sounds like no.
yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
if,
yeah.
if,
I mean,
if
it's-
you had a couple kids that went out to lunch with the person and,
Yeah.
You see how they
Yeah.
interact with them. I mean, yeah, you should.
depending on what your child abuse policy is.
Yeah.
But
I mean-
obviously, a candidate that you bring in, you're going to bring in to see the youth ministry. So,
Right. Have
when
them
I'm hiring
speak.
someone, I'm bringing them in to just kind of be with
Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
interact.
Yeah.
And I think you can learn a lot by just being together. So, I don't know. I just feel like when everything's closed off and secretive and stuff, that's when gossip and weird.
Yeah.
There's just, then there's all the speculation and
Encourages
weirdness
the
happening.
spin and all the.
I don't know. I just
It's-
feel like people like to
I
be
just
a part
always
of the
want to,
process.
I mean, my leadership, I want to write the story.
Yeah.
I want to write
Yeah.
the story. So if we get to write the story and it can be positive from the beginning and we're excited about this transition and
Yeah.
here are the new areas of the church that are going to open up and I'm excited about this and
Yeah.
I want to stay stay involved. I'm going to speak once a month or whatever it is.
Oh, that's cool.
You get to write the story.
But sometimes, I mean, if you want to, sometimes you want to write the story and let the whole thing out right now, and then sometimes you're like, hey, what if, I mean, there's times when
Yeah.
you go fast and times when you go slow.
Yeah, no,
For sure.
It's
What if you
the
just
move-
leak it and then everybody wins? Hey, that's what I'm going to be doing. Don't tell anybody. See what happens.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That feels right. Yeah, that
that's
was real
that's
healthy.
strategic leadership.
Yeah.
Now you know why they don't go to Mexicali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is.
Bunch of workers.
Too busy going to school at Bethel College.
Insider humor, guys. We just really need to be aware
It's
of it.
not insider. We talk about it every time.
Are
on
you
the
guys
show.
talking about Bethel College?
We're just having a good time. Stop
Okay.
busting
We are.
our chops.
Yeah, that way, Katie. Way to work him over. All right, here's the deal. I love all you guys. I love being with you.
Ditto.
I'm going to Hawaii tomorrow.
What?
Yeah, and so I
You're lying.
need to get going.
You're lying.
It's a quote speaking gig.
It is a speaking gig.
Yeah, no.
Look
in
it up.
Hawaii, there's not.
It's called the
not.
HIM Conference,
Yeah,
Hawaiian
you and
Island
your guide
Ministry.
buddies.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Hawaiian.
Hawaiian. It's
Youth
huge. It's a
Ministries.
huge conference.
Well, yeah, because everyone's like, well, gotta go to Hawaii.
Gotta go
so
to Hawaii.
conference is only there.
Yeah. I'll be gone
Why
a
haven't
week.
we
I'm
thought of
speaking 2
that?
I
days.
agree.
Really, we're the idiots.
You know what? We should hold a youth
beautiful.
ministry DYM Youth Ministry Conference in Hawaii. Youth
Okay.
workers would flood there, not for us, but for
Right.
the islands. That's a great call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in.
I bet you they
Yes.
wouldn't.
Are we doing that
Really?
right now?
It's
would.
expensive.
I know, but we could go. Who cares if
It is
anyone showed up or
expensive.
not? We would be in Hawaii.
That seems to be the scene with some conferences. Who cares if anybody shows
Hawaii.
up?
That's how
I'm
we,
in.
that's how we roll.
What does that mean? Who cares if anyone shows up?
I don't know.
I would hope no one does if we were in Hawaii. We'd just party.
No, I like hanging with youth workers.
I
So
do
when
too.
we hold
It's
our
fun.
conference,
I do too, but if it's Hawaii, I could.
Hawaii.
Okay,
I can
here,
go
let me,
either
let
way.
me end with a story
Yeah,
with Josh's kids. So last night, I see your wife at Wahoo's, and your kids are all together, and I go over there, and they're just so cute. Christian's not there, but the other three are. And so I'm looking at Austin, and I'm going, Austin, how was the movie the other night?
No.
Yeah, you didn't hear about this?
No, I didn't hear.
Yeah, so I'm asking, and your other kids go, he didn't go to the movie the other night. And I go, oh, your dad told me you went to the movie. That he just like totally comes clean. We weren't supposed to say anything.
It was a secret
Yeah.
movie night. We went to Boy Scouts. We ditched Boy Scouts and went to the
Yeah,
Lego movie.
yeah. Then Ange came in, and you could just see he was so
You're
cute.
encouraging secrets.
Well, I like to just, rather than all at
I like
once.
to tell the story. I like to control the story.
Yeah, totally.
Oh my god. Anyway, your kids are so cute.
You're
They
awesome.
really- they're
He's
so
trying
cute.
to
He
be
was
such a good
yeah.
boy.
No
so
one knew
loyal.
after
No,
2
he-
days. No one knew.
He
It
was
such a big
like,
deal.
okay, I'm not supposed to. Because I was baffled. I'm like, I know, because
Yeah,
Josh
it's
and I,
over
we
there,
met
yeah.
Monday after you went to the movie. So
Yeah.
It was a
It was-
great time.
yeah, that's
He's
cute.
that kid, like a little bit of secret, like let's just do a fun little father-son thing, and
Yeah.
he is for a month. He's just so happy.
That's great.
So.
That's great.
Well,
Well,
lies and deception.
And more deception than lies,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
Yeah.
this is the dad who
Bill.
tells his kids to steal something
Still
from 7-Eleven.
Slurpee.
Yeah. All right, love
All
you
right.
guys.
Love you
And
more
to
than
the
we love hand
DYM
grenades.
crowd, friends.
Become a member today.
Fringe was a great TV show.
Let's get into that box and see what Bethel says.
Yeah, let's do it. Bethel Seminary College.
Are we still recording?
Thank you.